Hi there, good evening and welcome to This Is Ibrox for Sunday the 25th of February. This is a Sunday session. Very welcome. My name is Scott Patterson. If you're joining us on our YouTube channels, we thank you for taking your time out on Sunday to join us. Loads to discuss. Of course, we were 5 points here yesterday. Probably, as expected, came back to 2 eventually today. Lots to speak about and two of our most experienced contributors to join us. Hi JB, how are you doing, Jamie? All right?
Yeah, evening. Yeah, a lot better after yesterday's result and performance. So yeah, looking forward to getting into it again.
Absolutely. And Reiss is back. Hi Reiss, how are you, pal?
Yeah, all good, Scott. Glad to be back on.
Absolutely. So listen, loads to discuss. We're going to speak about the match yesterday, options that are available now all of a sudden to Philippe Clement right across the pitch, the back four, which I think are really important just now, and not maybe getting a huge deal of a write-up. Do a little bit about Jack Butland as well, who spoke this week about how he thinks he is good enough and ready to play for England should the opportunity arise. So lots to discuss. We'll do a little bit about our social media and where you can find us as the pod goes on. JB, I want to go firstly to Friday. We found out that Todd Cantwell was going to be out. I wonder how you felt getting that news and going into the game yesterday based on how good he's been in recent weeks.
Yeah, I think it was one of them. It was a bit of a shrug the shoulders moment again, because it's been that many times it's happened this season where just as a player starting to build a bit of form, bit of momentum, then there's a wee bit of a breakdown and something. But I think for the first time this season, you can almost quite quickly rejig things and go, right, okay, we've got what we've got, and we can. There's someone that can step into that role. Which obviously as we get through today's pod, we've seen that Diomande and Lawrence kind of took turns in terms of covering that Cantwell role, and yeah, but as I say, it's so refreshing the fact that we're now in a position where we've got players that if we do lose someone, then we know we've got someone that can come in and kind of do that role. There's kind of nobody now, maybe out with Butland, you'd say, oh my God, I'm absolutely petrified of them being out, which we haven't been in that position for a long time. But again, no doubt we'll say his name a few times. It all just links back to the manager and what he's installed. And yeah, well, we got through it, so we're all right.
You make a really good point. I think for a long time, we have been very aware about how much of a pickle we would maybe find ourselves in if key players were to drop out, and maybe concern yourself over the quality of people coming in. I think for the first time in a long time, we don't have that concern. We're aware that, well, you're maybe not replacing like from like as far as maybe players that are good at some things aren't good at others, etc. I think you're getting a similar quality dropping in for the quality that's dropping out, which I think is really important. And Reiss, that brings me on to my sort of first point to you for the evening. You were at the press conference on Friday at the training centre, and John Lundstram, of course, was presented to the sort of waiting media and yourself. What are we trying to do with him just now? He seems to be able to play any. He's like a modern day Lee McCullough. I don't know if we call him, thank you for that, but he's like a modern day player that is capable of just getting in anywhere in the current climate and anywhere around where Clement looks for him to play.
He was excellent. I think I really enjoyed his press conference. It was funny. It actually made me laugh when you mentioned it there, because I've not been able to stop thinking about something he said in the presser all weekend, and it was basically, now that he's back for suspension, somebody asked him, like, will it affect the way you tackle in future? And he just kind of smirked and was like, nah. And I think he said something like, I'll go for the ball, and if I catch him, I catch him. And I just had replays of that time he'd done someone at Aberdeen in the cup final, and just thought Big Dou's just going to leather folk no matter what. So, and he's been brilliant wherever he's been, and I think it's actually really good. I picked up on it, especially at Hearts, because Alex Cochrane's been great for Hearts on the left hand side. So to have him at right wing, effectively being a second defender there, nullifying it, it helps us win the ball back right high up the park. And you're getting better quality of chances if you win it 30 yards for their goal compared to 30 yards for your own. Yeah. So having him up there, actually, I think is brilliant, because it stops attacks before they're even in our half.
Yeah, I think it was interesting as well, having Sterling, and you kind of allude to this yourself, he's having Sterling playing in that sort of right wing role, if you like. it allows Tavernier to bomb up, and maybe the thing that we've seen previously, it allows him to do that without the knowledge that someone else can sort of back him up. So it was interesting to see him play there, JB, but it didn't give me a huge deal of concern based on what we've seen from him so far. I think he looks really good. I'm happy to see him playing in that role, albeit maybe a bit unorthodox for him. Can't walk by the team selection without mentioning Connor Goldson, Jamie, 300 per game for the club yesterday. Missed next to nothing out with, I think he's had one sort of longish injury when he was at the club, but listen, he's been really good for us, really consistent, and to get to 300, I think is quite impressive.
Yeah, no, he's been massive. I mean, he's one of them. Connor Goldson, he's such an easy target for people. I think and that's just because of the fact he's always there. Now, unfortunately, over the years, everyone knows we haven't won enough. Do you know what I mean? It's not. We have ample opportunity to be able to pick up probably another 3, 4, even 5 trophies. So the last few, probably since both Tavernier and Goldson have kind of been in there, and so them two making themselves available week after week, and any mistakes that they do make are kind of highlighted. It's almost kind of you got the fan base split in half of people waiting for him to make a mistake to say, "Oh God, I told you," and then the performance he put in yesterday was seamless, absolutely seamless. I thought he looked back to his old self. Is in possession, he's good. We're not seeing them big raking passes as much as we did. I think we might have seen one in the second half yesterday that led into one of the goals. But I think all in all, the service that he's given to the club has been fantastic. And I think a lot of people seen it in the 55 season in terms of the leadership that he gives. A lot of people did comment, those that were lucky enough to be at the games, whether it be through commentary or whatever. Was he never stopped for the 90 minutes in terms of supporting teammates, giving players a little kick up the arse. But naturally, if we're not winning stuff, then I say the guys who were there the longest and the most are the ones that are gonna come under the microscope. But fingers crossed, we're past that now. Now the fact we've got a proper manager, a proper manager who was a centre half as well, so someone who knows how to play the position. Can't underestimate the importance of that, and somebody that was a successful player as well, and a leader in Clement. So no, can't speak highly enough of Connor Goldson, to be honest, which I know will split opinion. But a fantastic player, and I think we're lucky to have him.
Jamie, going to stick with you, obviously, because Reiss has done a run. I assume he'll come back. I think he's having issues with his sound. It might be mine, actually. I'm not entirely sure. We'll try and work through it. Confidence levels going into the game against Hearts yesterday, you're really just looking for a win in the first instance. We obviously never thought it was going to finish 5-0, but I think at 5-3, if you're offered 1-0 and 3 points, you're taking it, are you not?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it was one of them. I think I said to you offline in terms of travelling up yesterday. It had a bit of the Old Firm vibes about it in terms of that feeling that you get in your stomach of this could genuinely go either way. I think because we've been playing so well and we're on this good run and confidence is high. I don't know whether it's just because how things have been the last few years. It's just almost been a case of at some point there's going to be a wee bump in the road. So yesterday kind of seemed a bit like a perfect storm for that. That might just be the pessimist in me, but players quite quickly put the nerves to bed. With obviously Diomande with his, I thought the technique was absolutely fantastic, and the players definitely responded to the fans. I thought the fans were brilliant yesterday. Yeah. I pulled up after driving up from Merseyside. We got up there about 12:30, and I can't recall seeing Ibrox that busy before kick-off. Pottering around the shop and into a couple of pubs by the ground, and everyone just seemed to have that bounce. And then getting into the ground, everyone was in there in probably record time, and the players fed off it from the first whistle. So getting off to the perfect start, kind of just relax things. And then if somebody had said to me, "You're going to walk away with a 5-0 win," I wouldn't have complained, that's for sure. So no, all fair play to the players, the management team, and the fans, because the word synergy, I don't think you can any Rangers podcast or conversation can be had without the S word. But that synergy is definitely there, and we're all the better for it.
Reiss, we were chatting there about maybe the nerves going into the game in the first instance. obviously it finished sort of 5-0 in the afternoon. I don't think anyone expected it to be such a high-scoring affair. Certainly not for us to score 5 at home against Hearts, but at 5-3, if I'd offer you 1-0, you're going to take it. 3 points on the board, are you not?
Yeah, everybody said that. I think at half time it was amazing that I think we were 3, maybe 4-0 up, and it was just you would have took the 1-0 all day. And then I actually tweeted it before the game saying that I think it's going to be tricky today. I wasn't feeling confident at all going into it, and for that display from what was described as the informed team in the league, and I think outrightly the third best team in the league, was unbelievable, especially because of the way we started. We started at 100 mile an hour, and I think it just the early goal killed the nerves, and it made the atmosphere so much better because it could have been nervy if it took us away to get the opening goal, even if it did go 5 in the end.
Yeah.
Getting an early goal just settles the nerves, and it started off well.
Do you know, you're absolutely right. I think of the guys that have come in January, and they've all got their sort of good bits, etc. Diomande scored sort of 2 in the bounce now, 1 with his right, 1 with his left, and JB, we're seeing a really good product from him right now. Maybe in a position that we've kind of been crying out for a little bit, someone else in the middle of the pitch to sort of take on a bit of responsibility and do the nasty bit, but also show a bit of a threat in the top end of the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think the midfield three have just complemented each other so well. I think in terms of they've all got that little bit of dig. They've all got a bit of dig. They've all got a bit of quality as well that you need. They're all moving the ball really quickly and very direct. I think was it St Johnstone away. The game kind of passed the midfield by. I think that was by design, probably from both clubs, given how poor the playing surface was. So to get back onto the grass yesterday and just the way that we can everything just looked controlled. It was almost if someone went, someone sat. The movement in terms of getting the ball to the wings quickly. That was one of my frustrations that I've kind of had with Rangers over the years. It's almost been a case of trying to play through teams centrally. But the way that we're utilising the fullbacks and the wingers wanting the ball, it's just setting us up for success. Again, I say Diomande with the threat that he gives you with the 2 feet. He reminds me a little bit of he's got the composure of Glenn Kamara, but then he's almost got he's got the attacking intent of Scott Arfield. And it's almost like for the age of him, he just shows good. I think that was one of the things that he said in his profile. He just shows as if he's so much experience and so much composure. And I think he's only going to get better. He hasn't played a lot of football since I think it was tail end of November when their league kind of shut down. So for him to come in and make the impact that he's had in such a short space of time and look so comfortable is superb. I'm actually looking forward to seeing him on Wednesday because he'll be used to playing on them artificial surfaces. So I don't think that will come as any concern to him, because sometimes when a player's going to whether it be Livingston or whether it be Kilmarnock, then sometimes it's that they're going to have to get used to this plastic pitch quickly. I can't see that being a problem for him, albeit I'm sure the quality is probably not as good. But the midfield, something that we've been missing for a real good while. And I know we're going to get on to my favourite subject, John Lundstram, later on in the pod. So we'll put that one on ice for now. But and Tom Lawrence, I don't think we can walk past in terms of what he gives us. I think we've just got to accept as fans, he'll probably give the ball away more than he'll retain it. But don't be surprised if there's added quality that comes in off the back of that. And he's got a bit of dig in there as well.
So we'll come to Lundstram and Lawrence for sure in the next little while. Both I thought were really impressive yesterday. And Lawrence has clearly been managed. His time in the ball and on the pitch and the grass has been managed quite carefully. I am aware that my sound isn't too good, guys, so I don't know how it sounds from you. I'm aware I can hear the crackle in the background. We'll try and walk through it as best we can. Reiss, we obviously sort of went 2-0 up in the afternoon. I actually think the second goal comes at a really big time for us, because I felt Hearts were just beginning to get back into the game. They were beginning to pop the ball around. They were beginning not necessarily to look dangerous, but they were certainly looking like they were beginning to get a bit of intent and build up a head of steam. Cortes takes that really well, does he not, yesterday? Good first goal for the club. The way he takes it first time, just steers it away if he's underfoot. 2-0, you're flying at that point.
Yeah, 100%. It came about 30 minutes in, you started to think they're getting a bit of a foothold back in this again. We're sitting off, Hearts with more of the ball for about 5-10 minutes, and you began to get a bit afraid. So to get that goal at that time was brilliant. And again, it was Sterling, I think. I think it was either Sterling or Lawrence won the ball up high in the park on the right. Wee bit of interlinked play, gets played through to Cortes, and first time finish. It was brilliant. He just seemed to pass it in as well. It's a pure grass cutter right into the bottom corner, and Sander Clark could do nothing about it. But it was good because it killed any hope they had of even making it edgy. Because if it goes one each, I think we'd all been a bit, all right, now we need to go again. But to just kill it off there was brilliant.
And I think you're right. I think that kind of it just sort of put a pin in the bubble a little bit for Hearts, because I felt they were beginning just to, as I say, not particularly threatened, but certainly be in and around this a bit more than what they'd been up to that moment, albeit we had the chances. James Tavernier forces a really, really good save out of Sander Clark. I thought he was going right in the top corner from where I was sitting. On the opposite stand, they would have a far better view, but it looked from where I was, it was going right in the top corner. So that goal came at a really good time. Third goal of the half, incredibly, and he wasn't offside. JB was the goal from Cyriel Dessers, and I think many people within the ground were guilty of waiting for a flag. I know I certainly was. I was waiting on that flag to go up because he had two opportunities earlier on where he probably should have done better, but was offside anyway. On this occasion, he wasn't, and he takes the goal really well. It's a great assist from John Shooter too.
Yeah, no, not off. The Nigerian nightmare. I think he was getting called in the Govan at points yesterday. He was. He's just all action, isn't he? He's gonna frustrate the life out of us, but he's gonna put the ball in the back of the net at important times. And that third one, as you say, when I seen the cross coming in, I thought that's a good ball, and he just looked in far too much space. I think we've just been kind of acclimatized now to him being that half yard. Going that half yard too early, and I think that's probably a sign. It's probably a mixture of confidence and fitness. I think what he was doing at the start of the season, especially, he was going that yard earlier, that split second quicker, because he probably didn't have confidence in his body to be able to move quick enough. But I think yesterday you seen even that one, even earlier, he showed great power and pace to bomb down that right wing. He left defenders in his wake, albeit he didn't have the best of finishes once he cut inside onto his left foot. But in terms of the goal, as you say, fantastic ping from Shooter. And I didn't celebrate. It was almost a case of, surely he's offside. Surely he's not going to deliver a composed finish like that and that be on. It's too good to be true. And then obviously the VAR check, and it was given. So it was, as much as we criticise VAR, that was one that definitely brought a smile to the faces of everyone in and around us anyway. But no, I thought the big man put a hell of a shift in yesterday. A couple of chances. Scored, as I think what we just need to accept with him. He's going to score the hard ones and miss the easy ones. So long may that continue.
So I think JB makes a really good point. I thought Dessers' game generally yesterday was really quite good. I thought he played well. I know he got into the sort of a couple of sort of scenarios where he was called offside, but he did play well yesterday. I thought he led the line really well.
Yeah, he did. He played well. He absolutely loves that offside flag right enough. But he does well. Like we've said for ages that like you take a striker that scores 2 a game if it takes him 6 chances. So I mean, I would rather that than someone who gets 2 or 3 chances a game and you're relying on that. But he makes chances himself just with his presence. He's a big threat in that he misses quite a lot, but he'll do well to just create chances out of nothing. And for all that, I think he probably should have had about 4. It was good to see him at least get 2, and you can't argue with the numbers. It's getting to that point where we actually need to just sit back and go, do you know what? Maybe the guy's he's doing well. At the end of the season, if you just looked at the data, that might be what gets us a sell-on for him.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Obviously, as we go on tonight, for however much longer we go on for, because I've obviously got issues with my sound, we will come back to our bet which, if anyone who doesn't know, I did say at the start of the year that I felt Dessers would score more goals than Silva between beginning of January and the end of the season. I think he's 4 ahead just now, Reiss. Is that fair?
Probably. I've lost that bet. You're cantering it. Every time Dessers scores, it's weird. I celebrate and I'm going, oh, that's that bet.
Get your cash out, boy. Listen, the second half, I felt... I felt we started really quite well. We obviously scored straight away, and when the fourth one goes in, I think you almost think that it's going to be sort of 6-7 because Hearts just looked totally shell shocked. Someone in the chat has said that Naismith did look pretty shell shocked for the because I think it's easy to forget Hearts went into that game yesterday in really, really good form. I believe, in fact, I'm sure I saw something last week that suggested that since Clement came in, Naismith is the most on-form manager since we appointed the Belgian. So it wasn't going to be an easy game, and it was always going to be a bit testy with Stephen Naismith anyway. But he did not set up his players for what was to come in the second half, scored so early on. And again, Reiss, I don't know, did you think Dessers was skying that over the bar? Probably disrespectfully.
I thought surely he's going to miss it, or it's going to be offside or something. It's one of the ones where you're turning around, you're kind of looking to the guys round about you and going, aye, what's going on here? Like somebody's, how has he scored 2? But it was good. It was good to just kill it off straight away. And as you say, we settled it off in the first half with an early goal and the same in the second. So it was good to see that we actually just came out and didn't take the foot off the gas at all, because going in at half time with that much a lead, it could have been easy just to get a wee bit complacent, make a few changes, put the feet up, but to go out and kill it off again was good. And Dessers scores, and it's getting to the point where it's actually laughable to think, like, we lambast this guy, but he still has all these numbers.
Yeah. Do you know what I've said before? I think from a mentality perspective, he must be really strong, Jamie. Sort of, I don't want to say in the mind. That's maybe unfair, but considering the sort of the haranguing he's had, I think it's really pleasing to see him just keep going. He's not down in tools. He's just continuing to go, and he is scoring in almost every game he's getting a crack at. Do you know what I mean? And ultimately, that's what you want from a Rangers number 9, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. I think what we sometimes forget in terms of previous strikers that we've had. Alfredo Morelos missed loads of chances, especially against them. He missed them in big games, and then obviously history will be kind to him because of how clinical he was, certainly on the European scene. But Dessers is going to be well on his way to beating Alfie's best season. Now, for a guy to do that, coming to Scotland in if you think about the first half of the season, was pretty much a write-off for him as an individual. So for him to bounce back the way that he has been superb. I think we've all just got to, I've said this on a couple of pods now, we've just got to accept he's just going to be Jekyll and Hyde. You know, like he's going to do a moment of magic and composure like the third goal, but then he's also going to probably go round the keeper and then fall over. It's we've got what we've got with him. I think, do I think he's a long-term Rangers striker? Probably not. However, while he's here, we've just got to enjoy the ride with him. I think he's going to be completely different to Silva, in the fact that Silva will be high energy, but one thing Silva won't be, he won't get himself into a position for a tap-in. He'll be more of a like the goal he scored, high energy, good run, clever first touch. That'll be more type of his centre forward play. But no, the big man, he's occupying defenders, and as I say, if he can start to get a bit of confidence within his game, there's no reason why he can't go on to be hitting 20 goals for us. And if somebody had said to that at the start of the season, that's what you're going to get from the big man, you'd have snapped their hand off. So no, fair play to him. I think we'll, as I say, we'll criticise, but we'll love him at the same time.
Reiss, goal number 5 of the afternoon comes from the Lone Ranger. Your man Fabio, it's a really, really good goal. I have to say, while I'm still not convinced he's going to be the guy that will spearhead an attack and score 20 goals in a season, a la the way that I think Dessers probably will. it was some finish, and the assist from John Lundstram was really special as well to put us 5 up incredibly.
Yeah, it was a great finish. I think, see, as long as like people say he's not a 9, he's not a centre forward, he's no whatever. See, as long as he does that, and if he can do that every week, I'll take that every week, no matter where he's playing.
Absolutely.
Just the wee swivel he takes it. I think it's the inside his left foot. He takes it with, just round the man, left foot finish, far corner. It was brilliant. I think I don't know if we'll come on to it, but there was that finish, and then his volley for the right hand side of the box that Xander Clark managed to save.
Did Clark save that?
Yeah. You get a hand to it.
It was so. Where I sit, I thought it was going right in the roof of the net. I thought it was a great effort, and it's probably the sort of effort you can justify taking when you're 5-0 up. To be perfectly honest with you, I actually thought it bounced off the bar, but Clark saved it. Yeah,
I think Silva was good yesterday. I don't think he had a lot of time to really kind of get into the game, and I wouldn't have said he was one of our best players yesterday, but it's a right good sign of a Rangers team when you can look at that performance yesterday, and there's little to nobody you can say played poorly or even didn't have a good game. I think everybody had a good game, which is quite strong, because we were trying to pick a man of the match yesterday between us, and I think everybody had a different one, and every one of us had about 2 or 3, we were saying.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely fair. It was difficult to pick someone as your man of the match. I will come to John Lundstram shortly. JB, I'm going to come to you and speak about the goalkeeper and the 4 in front. Yesterday, I would argue that at the moment that's our strongest back 4, Cav, Goldson, Suter and Ridvan.
Yeah, I think the back 5, just for completeness with Butland, I think he's just been immense, hasn't he? He's shown much composure. I think I might have said this a couple of weeks ago. I can't get over how good his kicking is. You know, for Sutton, I know, I think I've said this a few times in terms of when he first signed, he did say, I want to show a part of my game that I haven't been able to in other clubs. But his distribution with 2 feet is brilliant. And then the save that he actually made, when I seen it back on the telly, the one where the Hearts boy ran through, I thought Suter was a bit weak in terms of letting him get the shot away. And it was a difficult save. It was arrowing into the corner. Now, when I watched the highlights back, it didn't look like much, but at the game, it actually went past the post and was coming back in, and he got a solid hand to it and just put it to bed. And that was kind of all he had to do yesterday. But yeah, as you say, Tav, Goldson, Suter and Ridvan, they all seem to complement each other really well. I think in terms of all 4 of them are super comfortable on the ball. So in terms of being able to build attacks or being able to split the midfield or a good press, then these guys are fab at it, especially Ridvan, and the fact that he can carry the ball. And he's so direct when he carries it. He almost carries it with a view of, you're going to have to foul me, because he's got that good of a low sense of gravity that he just protects the ball super well. So anytime a player comes near him, he kind of just nudges the ball just away from them enough that he'll probably draw a lot of fouls and bookings and stuff. So fair play to him as well. He's another one who showed a hell of a lot of resilience to bounce back. I think everyone's probably written him off at some point. I know I'd spoken within the group a few times to say somebody that I'd spoke to within the club said when he first come, he really struggled in training. He struggled with the intensity and the pace and these really simple training drills. He kind of wasn't comfortable with it at all, and spent a lot of time in training watching, trying to understand what was going on. So I think sometimes we forget a young lad coming into a completely new environment. But yeah, fair play, and he's obviously flying the flag for all the wee guys. So yeah, love him.
Which brings me nicely on to you. I have to be honest. I was maybe a little bit concerned that we were going to see a lot of rotation between Ridvan and Bornat. And while I'm not convinced that we may see Bornat again on Wednesday night with big games in mind to come, if Ridvan maintains the form that he's in now, of the 2, he simply has to be the first choice left back in there, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's not even a question about it anymore.
Yeah.
Seen a comment earlier from one of the guys in the chat saying that whoever wanted to loan Ridvan out in January should leave the club, which is probably testament to the feeling among the fan base at the minute that he's just kicked on, really has. Probably for about December onwards when the January rumours started coming along, and then through January and February he's just been excellent, and like JB says, he helps us in wee tight areas that he's good that he can just take the ball quickly, quick 1-2, he'll take it, a few wee touches and stuff that just helps you. Barisic, I think, is more, he's powerful in his delivery, but his technical ability is nowhere near Yilmaz, and his willingness to get round someone and go up the line is nowhere near Yilmaz. And I think for the kind of team we want to be, that we're not focused on defending first, we're focused on attacking first, you need that option. You need somebody to help Cortes or someone on the left-hand side be isolated, because if it's just Cortes, it's quite easily for Hearts to put a right back and a right mid there when Borner's playing, because they know Borner's not going to make the run. They can go a 2-on-1, but Yilmaz's just a totally different animal, I think, and definitely not a question he starts every week for me.
Reiss, I'm going to go to a resident Scouser about John Lundstram in a second, but I'm really keen to get where your mindset is on Lundstram. We obviously know that there's contract discussions going on. I think there's a good chance he will sign on again for another couple of years. His beast mode is absolutely on right now. I think we are seeing the Europa League version of John Lundstram just now on a weekly basis. None of this sort of turning it on for a big game at home in Europe on a Thursday night. We are getting the same consistent version of John Lundstram right now, are we not?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's probably a slightly different role to what he played in Europe. I think in Europe he was more box to box, more dynamic, whereas now he seems to just have maybe matured a bit in that he knows he's the one that's sitting now in front of the three. He's the one that will sit and protect everything, keep it simple. He'll have his shots when he gets the chance, and he does venture forward a wee bit, but he's been excellent. He's not really put a foot wrong. I don't think he's, Hearts aside, because I think he was excellent at the weekend there, he's not really had any performances where you go, wow, excellent, like man of the match performance stuff, but he's just consistently been good or very good. And Hearts at the weekend, I think he was comfortable that we were 2-0 up. He could probably take a few risks even as the sitter, and he was brilliant. I don't think there's much of a question about renewing the deal now, especially when we've got guys like Ryan Jack getting out of contract in the summer. I think that's a no-brainer now when you think of what one's getting an extension out of the two, because I think you've got to keep one.
Jamie, do you think he looks fitter this season than what he's done previously?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's one of the things that under Gio in that first pre-season, I remember Scott Arfield saying we've done a lot with the ball. It was a lot of ball work, and it was no surprise to me that then Big John came back and didn't look comfortable within his demeanour and his body shape and everything. Kind of looked a bit sluggish constantly. What I love about what the manager's doing with him, he's getting the best out of what he can do. Where I think Lundstram was used to struggle was when we used to give him the ball and the pitch was behind him. So he's not great at receiving as a six and kind of turning into the game. We get caught out quite a lot. And simple passes, he's not particularly great at them. But what he's really good at is if he's looking up and there's options either side. Now, when you're playing well, everybody wants the ball and everybody wants a touch. And I think you're seeing a lot with that. Whereas I think what was happening with Lundstram previously was there was players hiding. If you think about the game away at Aris, which is certainly one of my lowest moments as a Rangers fan, being in the stadium that night, and the goal that we conceded late on was kind of summed up in terms of what kind of tells me in terms of where he's come since that night. He just looks like a completely different animal. He looks like he's covering ground really well. He's pinging the ball with both feet. He strikes me as someone that's a real leader on there as well. And he's constantly talking as well, similar to what I said earlier about Conor Goldson. He's constantly pointing, he's supporting, he's praising off the ball and stuff. So, no, I think it's great. As I say, we give him our Player of the Year for 2022 and took a bit of grief for it. I think people were just giving him the home vote, but we're starting to see glimpses of that, and it wouldn't be a surprise if he goes on to get our Supporters Club Player of the Year again, much to the annoyance of wee Dodds who sits by us. But he's... But no, I'm super pleased with his contributions. To Reiss's point, he's not shy in getting forward either. And that high press that he gives you. There was a ball yesterday that he pinged from from the centre of the park. There was no pass on, and it was De Bruyne-esque, you know, like just the way he pinged it out straight to feet. And as Reiss walked through earlier, or it might have been yourself, Scott, in terms of the no-look pass for Silva's goal, just absolutely dripping in confidence. So, yeah, no, fair play to him, and it's definitely needed, because if you think of Ryan Jack being obviously so unreliable, cracking player when he's fit, but there's that when fit again. Raskin looks like a shadow of his former self. Just while we're talking about central midfielders, I'm not sure how long that Beningham's got left on his contract at Hearts, but I'd be all over him if there was an option. He's a cracking player, and someone that I think could possibly go to the next level with us. I've seen quite a bit of him when he was at Everton, when he was coming through the youth, and he was very well thought of. I think he'd be a fantastic addition going into next season if that was an option.
Reiss, one of the things I think everyone has clocked onto, and listen, there's been a lot of narrative in the press the last sort of week to 10 days about a previous manager and his man management, how he dealt with the players in and around the training centre, how he dealt with maybe match days, how he was almost the focus as opposed to the players on the pitch being the focus. And that could be a podcast in itself, which I don't particularly want to get into, but I've got a lot of time for Philippe Clement speaking to the players as they come off the pitch if they're getting substituted. When Tom Lawrence was coming off yesterday, he was clearly really disappointed at being brought off. Obviously wants to get time in his legs, obviously wants to be in the pitch, and he knows with Campbell being out, there's probably a good chance he's going to be the man that's filling that jersey. Very disappointed to come off. Certainly looked at it from where I was sitting. And I really liked the way that Clement took time out to actually clearly explain to him why he was coming off, maybe managing his minutes, speaking to him about maybe what his plans are for Wednesday, how he would be, if at all, involved on Wednesday night, and with bigger games to come after Wednesday. A lot of admiration, and I think, as I say, based around the man management discussion, which seems to be raising its head right now. I think it was good management from the manager yesterday.
Definitely. I think, to your point, I noticed it with Dessers as well. I didn't actually notice the Tom Lawrence one. I noticed it with Dessers, but footballers are competitive animals. Like, footballers have had to be competitive for about the age of 10 to even have a chance of making it in football. They're hyped up for a game. There's background noise about a title race. I don't know how much of that gets into the dressing room, but it's certainly aware when the stands are singing "We Shall Not Be Moved." So they're even more hyped for it. They're playing a good team. They're enjoying their football. They don't want to took off. They're quite. You would expect them to be fuming. They're competitive. It is. He's drilling in one game at a time. So if they're in the right mindset and buying into his message enough, which it looks like they are, then that's the only game they're focused on. They don't want to took off at 60 minutes because they're not even thinking about Wednesday yet, whereas we might be. So just to have that time to go, right, listen, or keep me for Wednesday, or you're playing again Wednesday, that's enough. That's good because it's reassuring and it helps them calm down. I'm certain an hour later, Tom Lawrence, Cyriel Dessers will be rational enough to go, right, okay, actually, I can see why he's taking me off there. We're comfortable. We're winning. We've got another game in a few days. Good decision. But at that time, you've got to understand that they are hyped up, competitive guys who solely want to focus on that game. It's probably more tough for Dessers, especially when he's chasing a hat-trick, but it's one of the things that, bigger picture in mind, they'll be accepting of it, and I'm sure they'll appreciate it as well.
Do you know something? Thomas, who's watching on YouTube, brings up quite a good point, JB, and I never got this from us. So he's suggesting that Lawrence would be disappointed with his own performance and involvement in the game yesterday. I thought Lawrence was excellent for the 50 odd minutes that we saw him yesterday. Did you?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he did give the ball away just before. I think we were on a bit of a break, and he tried to find someone down the right hand side, and with his quality, probably knows that he should have made the pass. I think he's just wanting to play every minute. I think for a guy like that, who, don't forget, when just before he signed for us, he was the captain of Derby County. He was probably the first name on the team sheet, playing every week. So he's kind of done that and then come to us, and then he's obviously had the injuries that he's had for the first time in his career. But again, I think the manager's just managing him so well. I think everybody on the pod knows my view in terms of utilising the 5 subs. But So I think the fact that we've done that, and we've again done it yesterday, got all 5 on, plenty of legs, plenty of minutes, albeit some of the guys that maybe came on yesterday probably haven't put themselves into the manager's thinking. If anything, potentially worse than themselves, because to score our 5th on the 68th minute and then not really create too much post that was slightly disappointing. But again, within reason, when I say the word disappointing, it was certainly wasn't taking the smile off my face. But no, I thought he had a really good game. There was a bit of a slack pass in the first half where I think Dessers made a run and he slightly overhit a pass down the left hand, just down the left.
Right. Yeah.
But other than that, again, as I touched on earlier, he's going to give the ball away so many times, Tom Lawrence. But then 1 or 2 passes that he'll do will be the difference in terms of creating good goals. So no, I'm pleased.
Jamie, I'll stick with you. CGM jumps in, regular sort of watcher to us on a Sunday night. Didn't miss Cantwell yesterday, which shows how much stronger our squad is than even before the January window. That, for me, at the moment, is a huge takeaway going into the next 3 months. We know that we've got a big double header in Europa League to come. We've got big games to come at home. We've got a bigger game to come the first weekend in April. Putting the on form, and they are the on form club in the country, out with ourselves to sword yesterday at Ibrox. It was a statement win yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. I think in terms of what we touched on earlier, I think we can't give the club enough credit for the January transfer window. I think we were all a wee bit disappointed, thinking we needed that extra number 9, that extra person to kind of get us over the line in games. Maybe not for games like yesterday, but the games where you need a 1-0 win, a scrappy away 0 win at St Mirren or something. So I think we all probably were, when the window shut, we kind of were, there was a bit of what if could be with this. But since then, we've bounced back. We're creating plenty of chances, which again falls into the, if we just sign that next striker. But Diomande, Cortes and Silva have been fantastic additions. And as I say, you've got to hold your hands up and say the club done fantastic in that space. I'd like to think the managers have a hell of a lot to do with them signings in terms of what he needed. Because with all due respect, if them 3 weren't there over the last few weeks, you'd have been looking to your Wright, your McCauslands, your Raskins, and these 3 guys that have come in are the difference between where we are and where we probably would have been, which would have been probably crawling over games. But no, it's great, and we'll probably, whether he's got his own section, but Kemar Roofe coming back yesterday, that could just be another game changer for us. I'm not going to say them dreaded words that we say with Kemar Roofe, but I think we've got a guy there that could hit double figures between now and the end of the season. There's absolutely no doubt. But again, he's going to be another one that's going to need to be super well managed. But I definitely think now the fact that we've got a proper manager, he'll make sure that any minutes that any players are getting, whether that be Lawrence or whether it be Roofe or anyone coming back from injury, will be super well supported and pitched in at the right time. So yeah, no, it's exciting times, and as you say, coming into form at just the right time.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Roofe being back is big, and I think it's easy to forget that Sima should hopefully be back. I believe he'd done a bit of training last week, so he will be about and around things at some point in March, I would imagine. Matondo, of course, as Hugo brings up, will be in and around things over the next couple of weeks, I'm absolutely sure. Reiss, squad sort of rotation over the next sort of couple of weeks with Benfica to come, etc. Where do you sit on it? How would you rotate it, for example, and where would you rotate?
I think wingers are probably quite, I say this thinking about it now, it's probably not as such, but wingers are quite easy for us to rotate. You've got the likes of Scott Wright that you could have brought in yesterday. It's quite easy to forget McCausland never started yesterday. If we get Matondo back, Sima Touchwood come the end of the month or something maybe. Then next month, by the way, not February. That we start to get more options there. The middle of the park's probably a bit more touchy. You can maybe move Sterling back in. There's not as much depth in there, but I think games like yesterday, and it's probably what disappointed me a little bit. Games like yesterday, when you're 3-0 up, I would have rather seen academy players being brought on yesterday, so that we get that feeling for them that you go, are they good enough, are they not? Because if we had seen maybe half an hour of somebody like Bailey Rice or Cole McKinnon yesterday that coming into these games, we've got that wee bit more confidence that we can rotate them into it as well. But I think centre back as well, quite easy to rotate. Ben Davies nowhere to be seen by the looks of it. You've got Leon Balogun coming back with that mask. You've got Suter, Goldson, Leon King, easy to forget. He's shown that he's a more than able centre half for, I'd say, about 8 to 9 games in the league. So it's just areas like that I would rotate, and we've got Silva and Dessers up front as well you can rotate. So it'll be interesting to see, but the more you speak about the players that are injured coming back, it gives you a wee bit of optimism. I was surprised how much minutes Roof got on Saturday, considering what Clement said on Friday, which was essentially, we'll put him on if we need him, we're chasing the game. And to see him get, I think it was about 20 minutes, was quite impressive.
And you know, as far as Roof's concerned, I think it's, I've been a bit critical of Roof. I think, like lots of us have been, I think it comes from maybe an awareness of knowing what you get from him when he is fit, to an extent. So you're kind of pining, if you like, for him to be in and around it, well fit and able to sort of churn the games out. But because you've got such big games coming up, Jamie, I think it's important that Clement is absolutely comfortable that they can use these guys without them breaking down and not being available for weeks thereafter.
Yeah, as I say, we're in the business end now. Obviously, we're going to have 2 old firms, at least 2. Hopefully, another couple of at least another couple of European games, and a couple of trips to Hampden. So there's plenty there. I think in terms of Reiss made a good point there in terms of we've got good options all throughout the pitch, and then obviously we've got the option to rotate with Barisic and Ridvan as well. I think we might see Barisic maybe in the European games. Because one thing with Ridvan, we've got, as much as excited as we are with the way he's performing at the moment, we've got to remember there's a profile there of a lad who's had hamstring injuries, he's had little calf injuries, to play so many minutes. I think the fact that we're about to go into the weekend midweek, so I think everything's going to be balanced and kind of well driven. I think the only plus I'm kind of taking off Scott Wright at the moment is when he's on the pitch, someone else isn't getting injured. So I think that's kind of where we are with him. And again, it's the players who are coming on. I've got to prove that they're up for it and they can make a difference, because it's great training well and doing really well off the pitch. But in terms of once you cross that white line, that's your chance to show the fans that kind of you want a bit of a piece of this. And we're not just relying on that kind of set 11. I thought it was really good what Clement said in the week. I can't remember whether it was in his presser or his post-match. And he said we had an 11-11 match. And it was fantastic. And it was a really tight game, which goes to show where the squad's at the moment and how well they're all supporting each other and all pushing on. So I think if the players have got that attitude and that mindset, and when we do make these subtle tweaks around the edges and we keep coming through and winning games, it's only going to set us up for success as we go into the last few months.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It's going to be an interesting sort of 8 weeks or so. I think over the next wee while. Reiss, I do want to come to you. JB sort of led at the start with, or mentioned rather at the start, the support yesterday from start to finish, and I don't want it to get into a debate about people leaving early because they might need to or don't, or need to get a train or don't, or want to get a car park or don't. But I thought the noise at the game yesterday was fantastic for the best part of the game. I felt the Together banner in front of the Union Bears at the end was really quite special and outstanding to see. Very subtle, but really, really good to see. And it was interesting to see Clement acknowledge it as he was coming off the pitch. He quite clearly has asked, and you've been in press conference where he has sort of stressed the importance of having the support with the players for the 90, or as much of the 90 as is possible. I think he's seen that now. The supporters are jumping aboard whatever train it is he's trying to take us on.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're all buying into the story. He uses another metaphor that he uses quite a bit, but I think I heard another manager's maybe referenced that today in a wee bit of a dig, forgetting who's under pressure. But it's been good to see, like the atmosphere at Ibrox and that banner yesterday, I think, is the exact reason the club should be doing all they can to accommodate the Union Bears. Like, without them, Ibrox would be a library, to be honest. At times, even if they're between songs, it turns into a bit of a library. You're kind of waiting, going, what's happening over there? Why is there nobody singing? So, I mean, as much as you're maybe not participating in it yourself right there and then, you notice when it's not there. And I think we would be absolutely overshadowed by away fans in terms of noise if they weren't there. And I think that's why the club should be doing, and I think there's definitely been a lot of progress in moving towards accommodating them a lot more. And there's a bit more of a buzz at games now. When you're playing well, you're not going down to half time going, oh, this is a tough watch, is it? Like you probably were in September. Like in September, it's quite hard to forget and hard to remember rather. And I actually said this at about 60 minutes in on Saturday. Sam Lammers used to play in that team. If you think about his performances in a Rangers team, you think of a chronically bad Rangers team, and probably about 9 or 10 of the same players. So it just shows you the massive improvement, and you feel that buzz off the park as well. Just as you're getting up to Ibrox, you're expecting to go and be entertained and be excited and see a winning Rangers team and have that buzz going down at half time. Everybody's buzzing, you're talking to people, high-fiving and stuff, and it's not as much a chore as it perhaps has felt like before.
Jamie, for you, for someone who travels such a long distance to get back and forth to the games, I think to arrive and see Ibrox as it was yesterday, with the support and the volume that they were, it was a good afternoon for the club, wasn't it?
No, brilliant. As I say, as we were parking up at about 12:30, I can't recall seeing Ibrox so busy. It was just everyone, to Reiss's point, was just bouncing around with a smile on their face, and it was almost a case of it almost felt as if the good times are back again. Now, let's not get too carried away in terms of we've won a League Cup, you know what I mean? There's kind of not one there yet, but it was kind of taking me back to when I was younger in terms of going to see whether it was a really good Alex McLeish teams, good Walter teams. It was almost that bit of a buzz and going, there's a bit of an arrogance, you know, like, right, this is Rangers, this is what we're all about. And there's the generations that have missed that. Do you know what I mean? There's full generations. There's young lads, probably like Reiss. Yeah, do you know what I mean? In terms of lads who've fair play to them. In fact, it's been quite easy for these type of guys in that generation to go on balls to this. I'll go and support a high-profile English club or something. I think that probably was the intention of certain clubs. When obviously everything happened and we went down to Division 3, I don't think any of them would expect them for a second for the Rangers fans to show the resilience and the passion that they've shown all over Europe, all over Scotland, in terms of the numbers that we take en masse and the noise and the colour and everything that we bring. I think it's just a fun, as it touched on a few times, it's just a fantastic time to be a Rangers fan, and it's one thing for certain, it definitely does wonders for your mental health in terms of even your work life and everything. You just bounce into work with no hesitations. The alarm goes off in the morning. It's like, yeah, life's good. It's all right. Come on, we can do this. And then you're rolling on to Wednesday. You're counting the days down as if it's like an advent calendar. So yeah, looking forward to Wednesday and then looking forward to Saturday already. So it's good.
Indeed, all eyes on Wednesday, as you say. Jamie, thanks for joining us. Always good to see you, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, all good. Just a shout out as well. We had Stuart McCall in our supporters club on Friday night, as you know, Scott. So thanks for your support in terms of making that one happen. The members we had a fantastic turnout. I think we were knocking on 100 in attendance for it, and Stuart was absolutely fantastic. So any supporters clubs that are looking for a guest speaker at the end of the season or whatever, Stuart spoke with just real good experience. Someone who's got a massive passion for the club, very knowledgeable, as you'd expect, and just a real good Rangers man. So superb.
Yeah, no, listen, I have to agree. Stuart McCall was an excellent guest. He was a fantastic speaker, someone who's evidently very proud to have played his part on the pitch for the football club. It was really good to have him. So kudos to you for arranging it to top night. Well done. Reiss, always good to have you on a Sunday. How are you? And good to have you on, mate. Thank you.
Aye, thanks very much. It was always a pleasure, and even better on the back of a 5-0 win.
So don't forget, if I did say I was going to lead with the social media stuff. So if you are not following us across social media, get ready because we're there. YouTube, if you're following us on YouTube, don't forget to follow and like and subscribe, put the notifications on. So each time we release any content whatsoever, you get a notification and you can check us out, see what we're all about. We are also on Twitter and X. We've got 3 accounts on there. We've got our main account, which is at This Is Ibrox, which is the primary account, and some accounts that follow the women's stuff as well, which I look after, and the B team as well. So the women's one is This Is Ibrox RWFC, and the youth account is TII Youth. Give them a follow. Loads of content on there as well for you too. Facebook and Instagram, we're also on there, and we have a presence on TikTok and Threads as well, if people are still doing that, which I'm not entirely sure if they are. We are available wherever you get your podcasts, of course, as well. And we have the latest edition of the women's update, which I recorded with Claire Gemmell last week. That's live for your listening pleasure now. Ross is back post-match with you, Reiss, I believe, after Kilmarnock on Wednesday, where we hope to maintain the position we're in just now. Until when I return again, thanks for watching. Bye for now.